A day like today, what's the message as you guys?
Well, for me, it's understand that a lot of stuff that we set out to do, we did. There's some disappointment where we didn't go a little farther than once we got our sort of sights on certain things, making the playoffs, getting through that, through Pittsburgh. Our sights were on the next round, and it just didn't happen for us. So some good building blocks. You got to start somewhere. We started with becoming a competitive team from the get-go that had a good foundation in terms of work ethic, structure, accountability, all that. And this group was a special group because they dug in all year, and I don't think there was a lot of things expected of this group, and they proved a lot of people wrong. So you hang your hat on that. There is some disappointment because we didn't do what we wanted to do in the last series. So, but it's a start for us, and hopefully we can continue with some good vibes for next year to start out, and it'll be different. Every team is different. There'll be some changes probably, and this was a pretty special group that was pretty tight.
What do you think will resonate with you, the 103 points or the way the season ended?
Probably. Right now, one's trumping the other, but you have to. I've been a big picture guy and understanding what we're trying to build here. So I'm going to say the 103, because this league, when you're in this league, you look at our division, you look at the quality of opponents, and you look at how hard it is to get in the playoffs. I mean, you virtually need 100 points to get in the playoffs. That is hard to do, and we did it, at home, roughly the same type of records at home and away. And we played in 3 different rinks, so if you want to look at it that way. And this team didn't waver. This team got it done, and where they could have made some excuses, they didn't. They didn't make any excuses. They said they were going to do something and make the playoffs and become a good team. The turnaround in terms of goals against is probably, it is unprecedented. So that's pretty hard to do. It hasn't been done in 100 years. Individuals, there's great stories, Robin Lehner and Thomas Greiss, what they did in net. Both those guys, if you want, sort of getting their career marks to a point where they're, not only Jennings Trophy winners, but Vezina candidates. You look at the backhand, the defense. Didn't know if I didn't think it was going to be a strength of the hockey team based on trying to evaluate the previous year. You look at a guy, and I can't tell you this, a guy like Nick Leddy, who was minus 40 some to be a round zero or a plus player. That's exceptional to have that kind of turnaround, and the development of guys like Pellich and Polak and Mayfield, all those guys, how they developed. Up front, you see the continued evolution of a Matthew Barzal and Anthony and guys like that. You saw the great leadership of some of the veteran guys that were brought in and why they had impact on our hockey team. And then going back to the old identity line, and then the thrill of getting back into the Coliseum. Our guys loved going back there, and it was where they should be. And all that being said, they responded with a pretty good year. Obviously, you always want to not lose your last game of the year, and unfortunately we did, but it's part of the process.
Barry, what's the key of moving forward, building off of this rather than a one-hit wonder and just believing?
Well, I think number one is we've got, right now it's going to be in Lou's hands because we have a number of free agents. We start with that. But it's setting up a plan for each guy for the summer, understanding that the expectations are different. There is expectations, from us internally, and there's expectations, from the wrestling league. We're not going to sneak up on anybody, but right now is getting everybody who's under contract, giving them a summer plan, so that they can find ways to be better, understand where we want them to be going forward, And then obviously from a free agent standpoint, that's really in Lou's hands, where he will. I know he's pretty diligent on all that, and I'll let him speak on that part. But getting those pieces, knowing what you've got to work with going forward, and we want to build a winning organization year in and year out, not be a one-hit wonder. So it'll be a little bit different from a coaching standpoint. I understand the players a little bit better. They understand me a little bit better, but it won't be new. So I have to, just like a player, reinvent myself a little bit each year for the personnel and the team that we have. Our personnel may be a little bit different, so you may play a little bit different with certain foundational things that are already in place, and see where we can improve in every area, be it from staff to personnel to whatever, free agency. We're looking to get better.
Hey Barry, you mentioned the Coliseum. In retrospect, looking back at the last series, how much of an effect did the playoff layoff have, and how much of an effect did switching home arenas have?
I can't really tell you anything like it costs us this or costs us that. It shouldn't matter. I know that I can say this: the break for sure did affect us. We just lost a little bit of that, that little focus, whatever it is, execution, just enough to be off. I mean, we lost in 4, but every game was there to be had, and I can't tell you if it shouldn't matter. We play the game on, it doesn't matter what building, but it felt a little different. But at the same time, there's no excuse for anything.
Barry, what was it about Anders Lee that made you think he was going to be such a good captain, and how did he do this year as a captain?
He was fantastic as the captain. I know he had really big shoes to fill. I think he was a natural at it, because he does things the right way. He thinks of himself last rather than first, and that's what good captains do. And I think he grew into that. At the start, he was trying to fill me out a little bit, and in that role, and didn't want to come across as I'm the captain now. And he tried to keep. I just think he was Anders Lee, and the C came to him naturally from his teammates and from his own actions, and he handled it well. He handled the whole year well. I think we had really good communication, and I give him a lot of credit. He did a wonderful job this year, and going forward, he can continue to do that, hopefully.
Barry, how important is it to have him back?
Oh, the whole group. There's so many guys, and I'm going to leave that and let him speak on that. But you don't have success unless you have good leaders like Anders and the veteran guys that we had this year. It was a really good group. I mean, you talk about the guys that never get a lot of mention, of the Ross Johnsons of the world, and the Seidenbergs and the Spizas. They had way more impact than anybody can imagine. And it wasn't necessarily because they were playing games or anything. It was their attitude and their work ethic, and they were fantastic role models and pros that it rubbed off on our room, and they were all had contributed in having us have success.
Barry, when you look at this roster as a coach, and what are you guys going to need to get to that next step, to take that next
Well,
step?
there's lots of stuff. We're going to sit down the next couple of days and really evaluate where, we're still growing as an organization. We've got some young guys that are coming. Obviously, if you look at the playoffs, we need a little more pop up front. We knew that. I think all year we knew that. That's hopefully coming in the draft a little bit through some of the kids. Free agency Lou will be looking at that, and also our own free agents, and go from there. So that's an area. Our goaltending seems to be fine. Our defense has grown. A little more pop probably up front. We've got good, you talk about character and grit. We've got lots of that. So probably a little more pop, if anything.
How would you like Islanders? Barry, how would you like Islanders fans to remember this season, this group?
Probably number one is they're Islanders. They're honest, hard-working group that left it all on the line, and there was no. They didn't cheat the group. They didn't cheat the guy next to them. They came. This is I think the people on Long Island. They're hardworking and they're honest and they're passionate. I think this group had all those qualities.
You mentioned your goaltenders seem to be fine. Are you a big believer that they can duplicate what they did this year if you bring Robin back?
I see why. I don't see why they can't. I think systematically what we do gives a lot of goaltenders a chance to have success, but they put the work in. And both Thomas and Robin both had great numbers. And there's no reason. Once you reach a certain standard, you try to reach that every year. Every year is different, and they have the ability to duplicate that, but they need the same personnel and the same commitment from everybody around them as well.
Hey, specifically on defense, you have Taves, Mayfield, Halleck, Pulak, kind of a core four of these young defensemen. Letty too, yeah. But I'm thinking of the four guys that have come up through this organization. Yep. I mean, what kind of foundation does that set for future seasons?
Well, I think your foundation is always going to be the draft. Your success as an organization is always going to be the draft, and then you supplement from other resources, those type of things. So it says a lot that you look at. You can throw a young kid like Dobson in the future. The defense looks like it's going to be okay for a while. You got some young guys up front that are coming. So your whole success as an organization, the teams that draft well and develop well are always going to have success. And that's undeniable in this league. And there's some people that have made the transition from, I'll say, from prospect to pro. And that's what you're seeing, the evolution of a Pelech, a Polak, a Taves, those type of guys.
Gary, how much did you enjoy the season personally, just winning the cup, coming here, and all that?
I enjoyed it. I will say this. We're thinking back. I was talking with Lane and Mitch, who we're on the same ride the last little while. In the last 20 months, we've pretty well worked straight through. I will honestly say I enjoyed the year. I won't say it was easy. Put a lot of hours in and a lot of work, and but it's rewarding. That's what you have to do to put the time in to have success. If you're not willing to put the time in to have success, then I will probably tell you how you're gonna do. But this group, coaching staff, players, everybody put in the time and understood the importance of the details and the effort that was put in.
Barry, when you look back 11 months, how difficult a decision was it for you to take this job, and what convinced you to do it?
It was actually pretty easy. I made a decision. I thought I was going to take some time off, and it was real simple. I got a call from Lou, and I sort of said, well, I'm probably going to, this is what I'm thinking. I'm going back to British Columbia for a bit, and he said, can I talk to you? And I said, let's talk. It's not going to hurt. And once I sat down with Lou, and he just, sort of putting out the plan of what he was trying to accomplish, and the way he goes about it, the detail, the organization, all that, it became pretty easy for me to want to come. It wasn't that hard, and it was just a matter of talking to my family, and basically my wife says, you got lots left. Plus, I don't want you home all the time, so let's do it. And we made a family decision, and we came here, and we don't regret a thing.
That being said, I know you always want to win the cup. Are you looking forward to a quote-unquote normal summer?
Yes and no. I wish if we were still playing, I'd be totally all right with that.
Yeah, right.
because you do get energy. But it will be hopefully a little bit of a normal summer, there is something to be said about sort of getting a little bit of time off. There was a stretch, I know, when we won the Cup and I got back to work. There was 90 days straight where I know I didn't have a day off, and that's 3 months, and that took its toll a little bit at times. So, but at the same time, you enjoyed it. You wouldn't be able to do it for that long if you didn't enjoy it. And I always tell my kids, find something you enjoy, and you never work a day in your life. So, I guess I haven't worked a day in my life so far.
Barry, from where people thought this team was going to finish last summer, would winning the Jack Adams be extra?
You know what? I quite honestly, I don't like individual awards at all. I have won that award, and I can honestly say I have no idea where that trophy is. Really, I don't. It's in a box. It's in the basement somewhere, and if it's to me if the Jack Adams Award I get to represent my coaching staff. I get to represent the players that put in all the time, the commitment, the work ethic, and I'm the pretty face that has to go there and represent the Islanders on that, because I don't think it's an individual award. I really believe it's a team award, and I would be our representative. That's how I look at it.